Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a moment in your life, perhaps many, when your emotions rise like a flood, seeking to drown your clarity, your purpose, and your vision. And in that moment, you will face a simple but powerful decision. Will I master my feelings, or will they master me? Understand this, feelings are natural, but they are not kings. They are servants, signals, not commands. Anger, fear, doubt, envy, even joy, these are visitors. Some are welcome, some are not. But none of them should be allowed to hold the throne of your life. Too many have failed, not because they lack talent, but because they lack control. They let frustration derail focus. They let hurt turn into hate. They let excitement cause carelessness, and all because they mistook emotion for direction. You are not what you feel. You are what you choose in spite of what you feel. That's where power lives. The individual who disciplines their reactions, who can pause in anger, who can choose optimism in fear, who can act with principle instead of impulse, is the individual who will rise. Because every champion, every leader, every self-made success has faced storms of emotion. But they didn't curse the storm. They learned to steer through it. They used emotion as fuel, not fire. They let reason chart the course and let passion power the engine. I challenge you today. Become the master of your internal world. Train your mind like a soldier. Decide that nothing, no mood, no moment, no person will hijack your character, control your feelings, and you will control your outcomes. Control your feelings, and you will command your life. There is no greater battlefield than the one within a man's own mind. And upon this battlefield, emotions are both the adversary and the ally. They are the forces that can drive him to heights of achievement or drag him into the abyss of regret. The man who conquers others may be called strong, but the man who conquers himself is invincible. Emotions, left ungoverned, are dangerous. They have destroyed fortunes, reputations, marriages, and empires. But when brought under control, when disciplined and directed with intention, they become power. They become the fuel of progress, the fire behind ambition, the passion that breathes life into a definite purpose. Anger, properly channeled, becomes boldness. Fear, when understood, becomes caution that prevents recklessness. Even sorrow, when not indulged in, becomes wisdom. Understand this. Your destiny is not written by the winds of circumstance. It is carved by the steady hand of decision. But no decision is steady if it is made under the lash of uncontrolled emotion. That is why the individual who rises to great heights is not necessarily the one with the most talent, the most resources, or the best timing. He is the one who has mastered himself, the one who remains calm in chaos, focused in temptation, and resolute in pain, because he knows that external conditions may shift, but his internal command is unshakable. When you govern your emotions, you stop being a puppet pulled by circumstance and become the architect of your future. You are no longer swayed by opinions, discouraged by delay, or defeated by temporary failure. You stand firm, eyes on the goal, because your emotions serve you. They do not control you. Mastery over emotion begins with awareness. The moment you feel anger rise, do not react, observe. The instant fear creeps in, do not retreat, evaluate. Discipline is born in that brief pause between feeling and action. In that pause, destiny is chosen. A man may feel discouraged, but if he rises anyway, takes action anyway, moves forward anyway, then he is not discouraged. He is disciplined. A woman may feel fear, but if she confronts the challenge head on, she is not fearful. She is courageous. Understand this truth and you will unlock one of the greatest secrets of success. Your feelings are not your identity. Your choices are. Feelings are temporary. They shift with the weather of circumstance. One moment you feel capable, the next you feel lost. 1 hour you are confident, the next uncertain. But greatness does not belong to those who wait for the right feeling. It belongs to those who do what must be done regardless of feeling. Your emotions are passengers, but you are the one behind the wheel. If you let the passengers drive, the car crashes. If you remain in command, the destination is yours. The world does not reward intention. It rewards execution. No one will pay you for what you meant to do. No one will celebrate what you felt like doing. Results are born in action, and action is the product of decision, not emotion. If you feel lazy but work hard, you are not lazy. If you feel small but step up, you are not small. Action defines character, not feeling. Too many have been taught to follow their hearts, yet they have not trained their hearts to follow principle. They have allowed their lives to be ruled by moods and impulses, confusing truth with feeling, fact with emotion, value with comfort. But the person who will rise, truly rise, is the one who wakes up in doubt and moves anyway. The one who is struck by fear and steps forward anyway, and the one who is tempted to retreat, to procrastinate, to surrender, but instead chooses to act in alignment with their purpose, with their values, with their mission. Because doing, not feeling, is the currency of growth. Every great structure began first as a thought, a blueprint etched into the mind of a builder long before it ever stood upon the earth. And so it is with your life. Your results, your achievements, your future, they all begin in the workshop of your mind. Thoughts are the architects of destiny. They sketch the plans, define the dimensions, and determine the direction. But an architect's vision without energy remains paper and ink. What gives life to the structure? What moves the idea into motion, the dream into reality? Feeling, emotion, passion. These are the fuel. But listen carefully. Fuel without form is fire without purpose. A man driven by wild emotion but without a clear thought is like a ship driven by wind but without a rudder. It moves but toward destruction. Passion without a plan burns everything in its path. Likewise, thought without emotion is motionless. It stays idle, lifeless, unexpressed. Success demands both. A definite plan, conceived by reason, and a burning desire to see it done. This is the secret that separates the daydreamer from the doer. The dreamer thinks, but he lacks the flame. The doer thinks, and then he sets his soul on fire to bring that thought to life. Every inventor, every builder, every captain of industry began with a vision, but they did not sit still and wait for inspiration. They lit a fire under their vision through emotion, through desire so intense it overrode fear, resistance, and fatigue. They moved forward not because they always felt ready, but because the thought was so vivid it demanded action, and the emotion so strong it could not be silenced. The mind must lead, but the heart must power the journey. You must learn to design your life on purpose, not by accident. That means thinking deliberately, feeding your mind with definite aims, and rejecting the scattered thoughts of doubt, fear, and confusion. But once that design is made, you must then energize it. Pour in your faith, infuse it with enthusiasm. Fan the flames of desire until no obstacle, no delay, no difficulty can extinguish it. Thoughts write the blueprints of your future. But feelings, when trained, disciplined, and directed, become the energy that lays every brick. They drive the late nights, they withstand the setbacks, they keep the builder building long after others have walked away. The man who reacts is chained. He is not the captain of his fate. He is its captive. He is tossed by circumstance, pulled by impulse, and enslaved by every word, every look, every slight from others. His emotions rule him. His surroundings dictate him. He moves not by conscious will, but by unconscious compulsion. But the man who responds, the man who pauses, who reflects, who chooses his action deliberately, he is free. Free from the tyranny of mood, free from the grip of external control. Free from being a puppet in the hands of the world. Reaction is the default of the undisciplined mind. It is immediate, emotional, and often destructive. It is the lash of pride, the sting of ego, the roar of fear. Single reaction can destroy a reputation, sever a relationship, or derail a destiny. But response is pounce's power. Response is what separates the primitive from the principled. It is the product of awareness. It is choice, not impulse. It says, I see what has happened, but I decide what happens next. In every moment of conflict, in every test of emotion, you stand at a fork in the road. One path is reaction, swift, satisfying, and regrettable. The other is response, thoughtful, strategic, and empowering. One leads to slavery, the kind that makes you a prisoner of circumstance. The other leads to freedom, the kind that makes you a master of self. The greatest victories are often won, not by force, but by restraint. The strongest man in the room is not the loudest. He is the one who could destroy, but chooses to build. Who could attack, but chooses to understand. Who could lash out, but instead leans in. To react is to give away your power. To respond is to keep it. There is no success without self-control, no leadership without emotional discipline, no greatness without the ability to pause, to step outside of the moment, to rise above the noise, and to act with clarity and purpose. And how do you gain that power? Through practice, through awareness, through the daily decision to choose response over reaction. Not for reaction, to rule your emotions instead of being ruled by them. To train your mind until it no longer follows every spark of anger or wave of doubt. That victory in life is not given, it is won. And it is not first won in the marketplace, in the arena, or in the world. It is first won in the mind. The mind is the command center, the general of your actions, the author of your outcomes. But like any commander, if it is untrained, undisciplined, or weak, it will lead you not to triumph, but to defeat. Most people live with a mind that is soft, easily distracted, easily influenced, easily broken by the smallest resistance. They allow their minds to drift instead of directing it, to consume instead of create, to react instead of led. But no empire was ever built by an untrained army, and no life of power will ever be built by an untrained mind. If your mind is the commander, you must treat it as such. Train it like a soldier. That means daily discipline. That means sharpening it through study, through reflection, through mental rehearsal. That means feeding it strength, not weakness, faith, not fear, clarity, not confusion. The soldier does not wait for comfort before he acts. He is conditioned to perform under pressure, in chaos, through pain. So must your mind be, because life will not hand you perfect conditions. It will hand you adversity, uncertainty, challenge, and the only weapon that will never be taken from you is the ability to think clearly and act decisively. Train your mind to obey your purpose, not your mood. Obey your purpose, not your mood. Not your appetite, not the opinions of the crowd. Purpose. The soldier does not ask if the terrain is fair. He marches. The mind, likewise, must be conditioned to move in the direction of your definite major aim, regardless of the terrain. This training begins every morning. You rise, and before the world places its demands on you, you give orders to yourself. You determine what you will focus on, what you will do, what you will ignore. You rehearse success mentally, so that when the time comes to act, you do not hesitate. You do not panic. You do not crumble. The untrained mind will sabotage opportunity. It will magnify fear, invent excuses, and surrender in the face of discomfort. But the trained mind, the disciplined, forged, battle-ready mind, does not run. It does not yield. It advances. You must feed it daily with thoughts of strength. You must speak to it as a leader speaks to troops, with conviction, with certainty, with command. You must expose it to difficulty so that difficulty becomes its training ground. You must take control of your attention, your habits, your language, until every part of your mental machinery is aligned with victory. Because when your mind is strong, no obstacle can make you weak. When your mind is sharp, no delay can dull your purpose. And when your mind is trained, no failure can make you quit. Your mind is not just a tool, it is your commander. And a commander must be fit for war. True strength is never found in noise. It is not revealed in shouting matches or emotional eruptions. It does not boast, it does not flinch, it does not demand attention. True strength is silent, steady, unshakable. The strongest person in the room is not the one pounding the table. It is the one who sits still, eyes focused, mind clear, while the world around them spins in chaos. Calmness is not weakness, it is control. And control in the face of provocation, in the midst of storms, is the mark of a mind that has been mastered. The man who must yell to feel powerful is not powerful. He is exposed, ruled by his impulses, driven by his need to appear strong, rather than to be strong. But the one who remains calm, who governs his tongue, who holds his posture, who thinks before acting, he is the one who cannot be moved, because his strength is not performative, it is principle. Understand this, emotional stability is a superpower in business, in leadership, in family, in personal growth. Calmness wins. It wins not because it dominates others, but because it refuses to be dominated by others. It keeps the mind sharp when others are clouded by anger. It sees opportunity while others are blinded by fear. It speaks with precision when others drown in noise. The calm person is the one who chooses their words, who observes before acting, who knows the value of silence and the cost of reacting. While others are busy showing strength, the calm person is building it. You cannot think clearly when you are emotional. You cannot lead wisely when you are reactive. You cannot make sound decisions in the grip of frustration or panic. That is why calmness must be practiced, not occasionally but daily. It is a discipline, not a trait. It is the result of mental conditioning, not personality. You must become the person who, in the heat of conflict, becomes cooler, not hotter. When voices rise, yours settles. When fear spreads, you remain composed. Not because you feel nothing, but because you have chosen to feel on purpose. You do not let emotions drive. You place them in the passenger seat. This is not detachment. This is dominance. Did you? This is command over the self, and command over the self is the first requirement of command over anything else. The world may try to shake you. People will test you. Events will provoke you. But when your strength comes from within, not from applause, not from approval, not from noise, you are immovable. You are grounded. You are free. In the grand battle of life, it is not the strongest body, the loudest voice, or the most fortunate hand that triumphs. It is the individual who masters himself, his thoughts, his feelings, his actions. To control your feelings is not to deny them, it is to direct them. To turn them from masters into servants, to channel their fire into focused purpose. Yeah, you've seen now, that mastery over emotion is mastery over destiny. Because your future is written not by chance, but by how you govern your inner world. That you are not what you feel, you are what you do. Because results are born in action, not emotion. That thoughts are the architects, feelings are the fuel. And you must build with vision and move with passion. That reacting is slavery. Responding is freedom, for reaction gives your power away. But response takes it back. That your mind is the commander. Train it like a soldier, because undisciplined minds produce undisciplined lives. And that the strongest person isn't the loudest. It's the one who remains calm, because real power is silent, still and focused. Everything begins and ends in the mind. Victory, failure, peace, chaos, they are all first decided within. The person who dominates their inner world will never be a victim of the outer one. And so, the challenge is laid before you. Will you rise each day to train your mind like a commander? Will you discipline your emotions to serve your vision? Will you build your life like an architect, act with the strength of a soldier, and walk with the calm of a king? Because your emotions may whisper, but your purpose must command. And once you take your rightful place as master of your mind and governor of your emotions, there will be no goal beyond your reach, no mountain too steep, and no destiny too great for you to claim.